You know, Mom always said I had a thick skull, but you still need a helmet. All right, today on Unpacked, we are going to be unboxing a helmet from the brand 1000. It's a pretty cool smaller company that started on Kickstarter, but they're doing some really cool things, and they claim to be very environmentally friendly. And I'm not a fan of greenwashing, so I usually like to dig into what different things mean to these brands. And right out of the gate, they say, hey, in very faint writing, I don't know if you can even see that on the camera here. It says, P.S. This shippable container is 100% recyclable. Please reuse or recycle. 1% for the planet. Purchase of 1,000 products directly supports environmental restoration and education project. Da, da, da. But they've made some claims on their website about offsets, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. But let's cut this thing open and check this out. First of all, pretty generic box. They do have hazmat markings, directly printed on the box. They're likely using the same box for several different models, which is why they're using kind of late stage marking or a label here that's being put on, which has a nice little emboss in it. How cute is that? So anyways, they've made some interesting decisions and choices. Let's flip this thing open. Pretty straightforward. We have a small box here that is glued to the lid, looks like. Yeah. And then I don't know if the intention here, it's got tape on it. I don't know if the intention here is to like slide it out of this thing while it's still in the lid. It says it's the magnetic helmet taillight. So interesting. It's just a let's actually come back to this in just a second. Take the helmet itself out. It's in a, I don't know, kind of a cotton canvasy bag. Okay, be smarter than the buyer. Let's see if it goes over my head. Oh, I think we're small. And then underneath here, we have another box sleeve here that's got taped dots on it. Anyways, interesting helmet. But let's dig into the brand and their sustainability. Owner's manual. Okay, it doesn't look like they have any more collateral around their sustainability, but they've made some claims online, and we're gonna dig into that. So far, most of this material is recyclable. There's one flub that I see here. These are technically recyclable. In this configuration, they'll probably go through. It looks like this is PET, not PVC. Can't 100% tell that, but there's not like this purplish color that you see sometimes with PVC. If it is PET, it's technically recyclable. It's details. But honestly, the biggest mistake that they've made is they've glued this PET to this box. And so unless a consumer is ripping this thing off of there, they are contaminating this corrugated stream that this would go into. So honestly, that's probably the biggest mistake I think they've made. But there's one other thing that I want to address, and that is offsets. This brand has made some claims on their site, and I'm going to read them directly from their site, that says, we've helped offset the equivalent of the amount of carbon absorbed by over 300 acres of forest in 1 year just by offsetting the carbon emissions from shipping our product from our factory to our warehouse. So what they're doing is this. They're doing something called buying offsets, and this is something a lot of companies do. They acknowledge places where for some brands, it's not as noble. They don't want to make changes, and so they just buy offsets to say, hey, we're carbon neutral. But for other brands, they acknowledge where they can't And they're talking about where they have to ship from the factory to their warehouses. They can't really avoid that. They can do some things to reduce and minimize and stuff, but at the end of the day, they still have to transport goods from where they're made to where they're getting warehoused and sold from. And so they're offsetting that carbon by buying offsets. And that's paying farms, forests, other people to have this land that's just there absorbing and converting this carbon, and you're buying these offsets from them. It's actually an interesting way to farm. So that's how they're kind of doing it. I think overall they've done a good job. They've kept things pretty simple and minimalistic. I don't think they needed these plastic sleeves on there, and they could have just made this whole thing paper and recyclable. Then they could have glued it together or done whatever they wanted, and this whole thing would have been recycled in the paper stream. I think that would have been a little bit better move than just adding these just for the sake of seeing them, but they're inside of the pack. Unless they have another secondary market for these things, which is possible, that they want them to be displayed on store shelves as individually saleable units. That may be the only reason that they've chosen to do this, and then they've also put them in here. But this gluing is probably my biggest, like, oh, if they would have done that just a little bit differently or not glued it in. They didn't glue this one in. So great job overall. Love to hear your thoughts and what you think about it. And even the thought, I'd love to just open up a dialogue about offsets and how you feel about offsets. I know people that are passionately against them and people that are absolutely for them. And I just love hearing both sides of arguments. So go ahead and hit us up in the comments below. And thank you for watching Unpacked. Hey, stay safe out there.